I'm going to tackle this topic because it's quite controversial in the program that I never name, but that gave me back my life. So, more power to it. Marijuana. When I got sober 21 years ago, all of it had to go. Prescription pills, the weed, the booze, all of it. And it was painful. Lord have mercy. It's not easy getting sober, but it's the best thing you can do for yourself and future generations. I think we should let people know if it hurts, that's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. I always say that to newcomers. I'm like, if you're hurting, if you feel like your skin's falling off, if you feel like you can't make it another minute, hold on. It's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. If sobering up felt good, then we would be relapsing all over the place. But it's a painful, hard-earned journey. In my bio in school, where I lead a community called Recovery Sketchbook, and it's all about art and recovering from alcohol and drugs. I am a self-described maverick. I've always thought outside the box. I try to conform, and then I get agitated or frustrated, or I don't align with some of the main theories or philosophies of a certain belief system. And then I feel like, well, I can't speak to it, or I'll be kicked out of the group, or I'll be shunned. And that's why I'm going rogue. That's why I'm doing this new YouTube channel, because I feel like too many souls are falling through the cracks. You don't have to do life like I do. And if you want to go out and find a 12-step meeting, please do. I have all those resources within my community for those who are even sober curious. But for those who are actively using weed and saying they're sober, this is the topic, and people get really defensive. So I'm only going to propose questions and maybe some guidelines, because I feel like what happened to me last year was biblical in nature. My gut issues reached, as I said, biblical proportion. I was vomiting, cramping, sweating. I called them attacks, and they kept getting progressively worse. It was terrifying. One of the attacks, I could barely drive home. It was hard to even lift my head over the steering wheel. I'd text my daughter and I would say, I'm under attack. And she's like, oh no, do you need to go to the hospital again? I said, no, I'm going to ride it out. I got up to the apartment and just pouring sweat and vomiting and all of that nasty stuff. And my question, because I'm an imperfect human, is why, God? Why? Please heal me. What's happening? 20 years of comfort eating. Because a lot of people who are in recovery, you'll see them gain weight. You'll see them become sugar addicts, guilty. And the Western food situation, we all know, thank God it's out there, that it's harmful. We have a massive obesity problem in this country. So the way I would fight it is I would eat the stuff that would make me feel good, make me feel numb for a while, and then I would run 5 to 6 miles every morning. Not a good plan, but it's how I handled it. After multiple visits to the ER and being in recovery for opiate addiction, that's your pain pills, Vicodin, Oxycontin, Percocet, all those nasty pills. One of the last visits I had an IV injection of fentanyl. And for about 7 seconds, it was warm bliss. And I said, oh, hell no. Oh, this is not good. This is not going to end well. And I was cornered. And a very nice lady out on the West Coast, she's very cool, very interesting person. She recommended medical marijuana. And I was like, yeah, I haven't done that in 19 years, 20 years, whatever it was. I was like, once an addict, always an addict. I don't know. It was the choice between two evils. And when you choose the lesser evil, if you're a real alcoholic or an addict with a progressive disease where it always gets worse, never better, they're both evil. I was back in that world that I had escaped, and surprisingly, it stopped all the attacks. And I went down a rabbit hole of researching what it is in the leaf that was restoring my gut health. And I was fascinated. But like a real true addict, it progressed right away. The one thing that I think that lesson taught me was a little bit of humility. Who am I to judge anyone? If there's someone out there who says they're 20 years sober and they're at stage 4 cancer and they're using medical marijuana not to vomit, go for it. If there's someone who had an abusive childhood and all they want to do is not drink one day at a time, and they're relying on marijuana to get them through the early stages of sobriety, who am I to judge? I wouldn't have had this opinion 2 years ago. I was a staunch, you have to do it this way. It's 100% abstinence from all mind-altering drugs, and look where it got me. In the hospital, off and on for a year. Now here is my parameters. And if you can still abide by this, like I said, who am I to judge? If you can grow your own marijuana and you know the soil and you know there's no pesticides and you know there's no additives in a lab, then it's probably better than Western medicine. If you're not frequently taking money out of the family budget that would go for new shoes, groceries, gasoline, you're probably okay. If you're not doing it before you get into a motor vehicle and drive on the highway with me and all the other innocent people out there, who am I to judge? We just have too many silos in recovery where everyone says it's their way or the highway, and then people go out and die. If you're hanging on by a thread and you're using marijuana responsibly, that's between you and God. But I'll tell you this much, if you're working the steps, you're going to get answers. You're going to get that tap on the shoulder. I get it all the time. The Holy Spirit is like my big brother that's always looking out for me. He doesn't let me go down the road too far. He's like, hey, you're off the path. So I'm almost grateful for that experience, as brutal and painful as it was last year, because it taught me humility. It taught me I'm no one to judge someone else's journey. And if you think you have a problem with marijuana, if it's messing up your thinking, your ambition, your cognitive abilities, I'm just a big proponent of medical autonomy, bodily autonomy. I don't want Western medicine to tell me what I should or should not take. I'm going to end with this because I meant to mention this when I was going off here. I feel passionately about it. One of the times I was in the hospital, I had to undergo tests, so I had to stay there overnight. And after I'd woken up from one of the tests the next morning, I hadn't eaten, and they gave me a tray of food. And this is a research hospital, highly regarded. And I picked up this food and I flipped over the back and I started reading it. And the ingredients were hydrogenated corn syrup, red dye 4, whatever it was. I mean, it was toxic, toxic, toxic. Poison, poison, poison. And no judgment against the nurse because, we all have our own inner battles, but she could barely walk to deliver the tray. So if this is the picture of Western medicine and the people who are sent to cure me when they clearly have an obesity problem and they're serving a tray of toxins on the food, I said, I'm out. I'm out. They don't have the answers, so I'm going to try to find them, and I'm going to try to help other people. So many people use weed because of gut issues, but are you stopping the flow of toxins into your body? You're in control of your life. You can stop with all of the highly processed flours and sugars, and you can restore your own gut, and more on that later. That's actually what I work with my one-to-one clients, because it's not just about put the plug in the jug, happy, joyous, and free. BS. We have to recover mind, body, and soul. It's a whole thing. He's renewing us. We have to take accountability for the poisons we're putting in our body, including gummies. I don't care if it's legal in your state. Is it working for you? Are you abiding by all those parameters I set out? And if so, I think it's better than drinking. That's my 2 cents. Would love to know your comments. And if you know someone struggling with weed or alcohol, share my channel, because I don't come from a place of judgment. I come from a place of been there, done that, and I'm trying to save you years of mistakes. So God bless. Have a good day. See you on the next video.